Hello, it's me, Pavlo, and quite likely I'm the only person from Ukraine you know besides some political figures. But today we are talking about really interesting player, it's Cayin N7. And unfortunately I see some tendency in the portable audio market. In general, technologies became cheaper, and for example, in the earphones, we getting more and more things that were super expensive, but now going to more affordable segments. We have like really cheap planars, we have relatively reasonably priced electrostats, and so on. Of course, high-end segment still exists, but also there is a really active life in the affordable segments. In the players, it's actually quite the opposite. So components became cheaper and actually, not even cheaper, but like more advanced. You can modern system on chips made by ESS, for example, allows you to build like normal sound with not so much effort. And then you just add some chipset, screen, and so on. Of course, I'm not speaking about super affordable players, but like in the segment about $500, it's possible to create a lot of interesting stuff. But and we have some interesting models, but actually not all, but many companies trying to reach to more high-end segment, offering more and more sophisticated solutions. And 5 years ago, $1,000 was like pretty premium players with really high price. But now, everyone is talking about the players with 1,000 and more. So N7 costs $2,000. Instead, Cayin promises a lot of advanced technologies. They used here some discretes on discretes with discretes. So they use discrete amplifiers that gives 250 milliwatts from the unbalanced output and 500 from balanced, and it's switchable between class A and class AB. Also, they offers resistor ladder, single bit digital to analog converter, and discrete low pass filters. I'm not fully sure about that single bit technology, because it actually, by description, it reminds a little bit what actually was going on in the first early digital to analog converters. So they worked by upsampling everything to high resolution with bit stream into the bit stream format, and based on that bit stream they just adjusted relays. Of course, nowadays it's not about the relays, but description of this technology looks really similar to that from years before. But actually I can be totally wrong, I didn't dig deep in there, but actually, so probably what I can definitely say, it's really something interesting and unusual in terms of components used. And of course it's like Snapdragon 665 player with Android 12, which is pretty decent. Of course, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, a lot of digital analog inputs, outputs, so Cayin usually creates really universal devices in terms of connectivity to work as a central of your home system, and so on. Battery, it has really big battery, if I remember right, 9,000 milliamps per hour, but based on all that components and discrete elements inside, you'll get from 6 hours up to 10 hours. And it's kind of realistic estimate. With lowest out gain and single-ended output, you'll get up to 10 hours, more or less the same. But on the maximum settings in class A, with maximum power delivery, with some power-hungry load, it will be just like 6 hours or so. But it's the modern physics, you can get infinite power supply in small case so far. But actually, let's have a closer look. I probably already said too much and already bored everyone. So, nice minimalistic box. They have some information printed on the back side, and if you're interested about the technologies and the schematics, just visit Cayin's own site. They have really detailed description with diagrams, PCB photos, and a lot of interesting things for those who like to see what is the tech inside of some device. So on top we've got some papers probably. Let me open it to check out and see. Papers, high-res audio stickers, they are still the thing, protective film and protective glass, so you can definitely protect your player. And of course it's demo unit, so I'll have to return it, and my task here is to unpack it with maximum caution without damaging everything. So let me slide it this way, and taking into account that I'm not the first reviewer who tested it, it's kind of fun that it was packed back so carefully. Not sure if I'll succeed here. So Cayin are usually generous, you're getting different adapters to use with outputs, and I like the separate compartment for the silica gel, and here probably will be the case, which is a nice touch from Cayin's side, and USB cable. So USB cable traditional, and case is really nicely built with this cool looking grill on the back side. So, and here used magnet. Reminds some Hibi cases, but Hibi used Velcro in the R6 III. So as you can see, accessory set is pretty good. In terms of design, I really like that Cayin made a step aside from their previous designs, and both N8 Mark II and N7 looks like more traditional player. Of course they have some unique features like this rounded shape or bottom side filled with inputs and outputs, but in general it's more or less traditional player in terms of design, with gold knob on top side and so on. So player, I wanted to say, you know, relatively small, but no, it's not small, and modern players are not small either. Once again, technologies went the wrong way. So here is, of course, Kern SP2000, and actually I remember the time when it was considered as a huge, heavy, bulky, and so on. So we discussed this player and said that it's huge, but of course it's a big 5-inch screen, but let's see. So it's smaller by all dimensions compared with N7. It's a bit heavier because it's still made of cuprum and, of brass, but or cuprum, actually don't remember exactly, but it's not that important. But this one is not far away in terms of weight. You know, actually, short of topic, I think that Kern could just take SP2000, re-release it in some simpler aluminum shell with the same sound and probably with their new faster chipset and with more modern features, and they could have easily sold it for like $2,500 or $2,000, and it will definitely be the killer that will sweep the market and will dominate. But they decided to went another way. So it's big, relatively heavy, not much pocketable, but at least it fits nicely into the hand, and you can easily reach all controls on the side. So in this aspect it's pretty good. So here we've got slot for the micro SD cards. Actually it requires some precise aiming because there is this opening is a bit loose compared to the card slot inside. So you need to orient card so it will hit directly the slot and not the edge of the slot. On top we have this super cool looking rich knob to change the volume. Actually clicks are not really defined. You can feel it, but the clicks are weak, so you won't get like precise, you won't get like strong clicks, but at the same time encoder used here registers these clicks pretty well. And here are on-off button and also screen lock and so on, and 3 buttons to control playback. and bottom is filled with outputs. You get two pairs of line out and pre-out, both balanced and single-ended. You have I2S digital output to connect it to players actually to digital tonal converters that supports I2S. And of course, first of all, it's Cayin own digital tonal converters, and two set of headphones output and USB Type-C port for charging, using it as a digital tonal converter, as transport, and so on. So you know all that things about the charging, and it supports power delivery protocol for the fast charge. And on the back side we've got that nice pattern with triangles and gold captions. Actually, I'd like them to be a bit smaller because they are kind of yellowish and bright, but anyway, still pretty nice design. And major part of front panel occupied with big, bright, nice Full HD screen. It has great viewing angles, it has good brightness, and so on. It registers clicks well, especially without the protector, but with protector is also pretty nice. So really good screen, and Cayin even like added wallpaper with their own audio gear. And so screen is nice, responsive, but on the bottom they added this back button. I don't know why, and actually they just could utilize this part of the shell in some more meaningful way instead of this back button. But it definitely reminds another player with this idea. In general, build quality is good, look is also pretty nice, strict, I like it. As for the firmware, it's almost the same firmware we've seen for the N8 Mark II, and actually it's Hibi build firmware. It's Android with minimal touches. Of course, here used DTA architecture that allows all applications to bypass mixture and output signal directly to digital to analog converter. In general, it's Android 12, Play Store is present here. And there are a few changes in the settings as usual in this drawer, because here we've got amplifier type A and AB, gain settings, three levels, output switch, line out or pre-out. The difference is that one is with regulated volume, other without. What digital output used here, I2S or sorry, why I hit this button, or SPDIF. If I remember right, SPDIF requires adapter from USB Type-C to the SPDIF out. And we can get to audio settings from here, or we can go to the all applications. Here are the settings, and here is audio settings. So here we can change output specifications, meaning what version of DSD it should output, what digital output we need, amplifier class A or AB, line out or pre-out select, line out, phones out, preamplification gain, channel balance, maximum volume. You can enable, disable MQA decoder and volume control settings, clockwise or counterclockwise. As you can see, Hibi preserves that advanced audio settings for their own players. And Cayin Music is also looks pretty familiar. It has a bit different skin, but in general, if you've seen Hibi player, it will be the same with all that features. I won't be describing it step by step, I'm sure that you've seen it. And actually you can change design with 3 types and so on. It's a modern player with well organized media library with a lot of features, with control over output, but in general we've seen it. And actually here you can use equalizer, but it's not system wide. And it has a bunch of settings, but also pretty like not many of them. In general, in terms of firmware, it's like modern player with solidified code base, so it does what it needs and does it really well. And of course, about the most important, about the sound. This player has two modes of amplification, A and AB, and this time it has noticeable differences between these modes. They are not huge, but they are more audible than, for example, in Cayin N7 or, for example, in high-B players, because those players usually have noticeable difference between mode A and AB when you use some headphones that require more power and more control. In that case, it's noticeable, and with sensitive in-ear monitors, for example, it's less noticeable. But here you definitely get two different types of sound, even like with some sensitive in-ear monitors, and to my ears actually only class A makes sense, because it's the same as with Shinlink players, that some models allows you to disable one of two digital tonal converters, but sound became like noticeably worse. Same here, I don't like AB sound. For me it has underwhelming dynamics. With class A it's noticeably better, and it's on that level. And I read a bunch of different reviews over the internet, and actually some say that it's natural and resolving monitoring player, others say that it's more colored, and actually it's somewhere in between. It has noticeable coloration. It's not that typical R2R coloration that shows, for example, high-B RS6 or, I don't know, other players with R2R resistor ladder. Here you're getting just a hint of that sound, but in general it's technical, detailed player with not that much of coloration that we expect from the resistor ladders. And probably it's logical, because it's not classical R2R digital tonal converter. So, bass goes deep, it has nice control, it has good detalization, it has a bit of added weight, not speed, not impact, speed and impact just as it's present in the record, but it has a bit of added weight, but of course not too much to give you more presence, more weighty low frequencies. It has good resolution, of course. I'm not speaking about technical nuances like texturing and so on. That all is on a really decent level, and in general, bass is pretty universal for all genres and types of music. So basically, what's in the record, mostly what you will get. And the first track, it's Down by Riverside from HD track sample by Noah Wall. And actually one thing that I don't really like for this player, let me show it to you. Where's media library, browse by folder, and I don't know, let me find some folder, like here's compilations, and some folder. You see, it's the only modern player I can recall that doesn't hide that ._macOS files. So I need to clean up my SD card manually for it. But it's a loaner unit, so I don't need to have to do it. So it's classical audiophile track with good bass, and it's nicely recorded, and player delivers it without any issues or like noticeable attempts to make something here. So just what it should be. And the second example, it's Yello, how, more synthesized low frequencies, and it sounds a bit more engaging when player a bit highlights impactfulness of the low frequencies and punch, but not in this case. It's just good baseline without attempts to do something here. Mid frequencies are like, how to explain it, they are a bit making a slight step from natural to musical representation, And on the bottom you're getting a hint of added weight, not by much, but like a bit more leaning towards that sound that is usually referred as analog and so on, but it's really tiny and hard to detect. It's not like you getting for example, N8 Mark II with tubes or like Hybe's RS6 or Cayin's own N3 Pro. No, it's just like a bit hinted here. And another thing, actually, if you're going to buy this player, you can benefit from getting your media library from DSD. Because with DSD you're getting better dynamics and you're getting more engaging, more emotional sound. I don't know, maybe unfortunately, maybe not, but also here on the mid frequencies gone one of the Cayin's signature features, boosted and highlighted emotions. So it doesn't do that like other Cayin players. I don't know, of course it's closer to more natural and balanced sound, but at the same time it was a feature and I kinda liked that. And of course, what is present in the record, it will represent your emotions, but won't try to boost them or highlight. And like comparing to some other Cayin players, I have a feel that it's not lacking, but like for the Cayin sound, it's also not a step back, but I'm getting more fun with it, so let's name it so. Stage is nicely built, but it's not like super big or super gigantic, but at the same time it's built really neatly and in accurate way. Also, I've heard some people referring it as a huge and great stage, but not for me. You know, stage is subjective, so for me it's really accurate, but not the biggest one. It's kind of critical for the quality of record, because without that like for example for the N8 II, it hides issues a little bit with that highlighted emotions and energetic sound. This one is closer to neutrality, so you need like better records to push it to the full potential. And let me show you some examples. So what we got here. First one is Unquiet Sky by Arena. Classical neo-progressive with catchy tunes, great vocal, lot of synthesizers and other interesting things in the music, and it sounds really nice with these earphones. I lacking a bit of dynamics still even in the A mode for this track, especially for the drums part, but it's like already kind of nitpicking from my side. And another track, it's actually Cilver, not sure about the pronunciation, probably Cilver, Afterlife. Interesting metal with female vocal, pretty forward, pretty aggressive, and this player played really nice in a really resolving manner, but if you're going to get this player, don't listen to N8 Mark II, because N8 second revision is like with that boosted emotions, it's just doing that in much more greater way, especially fitting such angry genres of metal. It's that player is definitely a great match for that. But this one is also delivered nicely as it present in the record, so I can miss some coloration, but it can be a player's fault because it's just a matter of taste. Treble has good resolution, it's nice, it's well controlled, it doesn't get splashy or aggressive to my ears, so in this meaning they are not really accented. It's not like treble safe player with some recessed high frequencies. Extension is above average, not maximum but above average. Layering is normal, not great but on a normal level, and good saturation with basic and more extended overtones, meaning that you get that sense of airiness and naturalness for the instruments. So what I've prepared for the treble. First one, it's David Bowie, Live on Mars. I really like this track, like that level of sarcasm he put here, and of course it's saturated with different instruments that goes to the treble area, and it requires good performance, which this player delivers without problems. And keep talking, it's Pink Floyd track, also lots of things going to the treble area, and here it's noticeable like difference between this player and, for example, some more high-end players, because it has a bit inferior layering. It's good for this tire, but like more expensive players can do that. So, to summarize everything, I don't want to be like nitpicking or something like that, but I feel a bit undersatisfied because I wanted Cayin sound from Cayin player and I didn't get that. But besides that, it's really good player matching this level, and of course, if it fits your taste, you will enjoy it. Speaking about the pairings, this is a rare case where actually I had to select in-ear monitors to match its sound, because first I wanted to listen it with Noble Sultan. And actually I like Sultans, they are not like top-notch technical performance, but they are super engaging and super fun to listen, and I thought like, okay, it's Cayin, it's energetic, it's emotional, so it will be good pairing, so Cayin will kick Sultans forward and it will be match made in heaven. Oh, how wrong I was, because it actually was like dull, lacking dynamics, warmer and unimpressive sound. But with Mest Mark II, actually it was a totally different situation. With it, they are natural, they are resolving, and actually they paired well, and they allows me to hear the full potential of the player. As for, of course, it has great black background, no issues with sensitive in-ear monitors, tested with Andromeda and Solaris. And from another hand, actually, a lot of people complain about the power, but in my opinion, 500 milliwatts for 32 ohms load for the balanced output, it's pretty enough. Of course, you won't drive power-hungry planars, and even not so power-hungry planars, so planars above the medium in terms of power requirements. But in general, a lot of dynamic driver headphones and not super tough planars, it will drive really nicely. And for example, Meze Lyric, it drives really good. Not perfect, but on a really good level. Speaking about the comparisons, actually it's pretty tough because there is not much need to compare it with the top of the line players, because N8 Mark II it's just better. So I expected this player actually to be like a bit simpler version of N8 Mark II, and probably that's why I'm lacking Cayin coloration, because I thought it will be like close to the N8 Mark II, but with more affordable price, and I'll buy it because I like Cayin sound, but probably not enough to pay the flagship price. So I wanted some more affordable option, but actually it has less of that coloration, and if you're looking for the Cayin signature sound, it is considered like their N6 Mark II. It's outdated, but still you can find it with good discounts, and it has crazy value if you like such sound signature. In this price tier, more or less, we have a bunch of Shenlings like M8 and M9, but M8 is more warmer, while M9, not that plus version, regular M9, is slightly more resolving and a bit more technical in the sound. And Fio's M17, it's more dynamic, with bit better staging, with bit more technical performance, so overall I like it more. And Ibaso's DX3020, it's more natural, bit less musical than this one by default, but 320 has replaceable amplifiers that can give you additional musicality in sound. So with DX320 you're getting like more different tuning options if you will invest in that pair amplifiers. But if you're looking for player without that jungling, N7 by Cayin is really interesting device for you to try, and a lot of people will definitely like it and buy it. So great player. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a great day.